Hey kids, it's JJ again here with another quickie tech tip. Excuse my loud ass cicada bugs out there in the yard. It's pretty noisy out there. But anyway, this is I think, for me, one of the most important things you can do for preventative maintenance, if you will, on your quad. And I'm going to use this, get rid of this glary thing. I'm going to use this board, which is an old Junker F3 or CC3D, whatever it is, I don't know, as an example. And basically what you need to do is this. There are a lot of videos out there talking about conformal coating, and this is something in the electronics world that I've lived in for my whole life that I highly recommend you do. If you're like my buddy Joe, shout out Joe, out in Arizona where they never get rain and probably don't have any puddles he's going to crash in, then by all means you could probably ignore this. But this is the best 12 bucks you will ever spend in your life, okay? I'll put a link to it. I get it off Amazon for I think 12 or 13 bucks. You can get it probably anywhere if you're out of the country. Just type in conformal coating. And all this is, and you've seen this in a lot of my videos, all this is literally like a rubbery nail polish, but it does waterproof. All of my quads, from my micro builds to my larger builds to my drones, my everything, I waterproof. I am foolish and I fly above water. I fly above all sorts of stuff. And if there's one puddle in the field, I will find it. So this is just a quickie tutorial of how to safely do this. There is no really bad way to do it. There really isn't. Give it a shake. Do this and paint it on there. It's not rocket science, okay? You'll see a lot of guys are like, oh, then they're just doing it like really fine, and yeah, no. I have pretty much doused boards in conformal coat and never had a problem. The thicker you put it on, the longer it takes to dry. So what I always suggest, do both sides. I do this with my ESCs, I do this with my boards, power distribution boards, all sorts of little tricks that I do with this. Try not to get any of it into your micro USB, because that can cause problems getting it connect to your computer, which is a pain in the ass. If you have any exposed ports, and you're not going to use them, clean them up, stick it in there, no worries. This is a junk board, like I said. The other trick is you can solder through it. It'll burn right off. So I do this on my VTXs, everything. I even do it on my FPV cameras. I can literally take some of my quads, dunk them in the water, pull them back out, let them dry off, shake them, and they'll fly away. Not a problem. But if you need to solder it, stick your solder on there, do whatever you need to do, and then after you're done soldering, reconformal coat it. Very simple process to do. Not much of a tech tip, but it's one of those things where you don't really need to be that careful. Don't get any schmutz inside the micro USB there, and you're pretty much good. Not a difficult thing. The other thing I wanted to show you, and I'm just going to do this really quick. I'm going to solder these two wires together. This is a little trick that I do. Sometimes when you get your whole build done and you're like, oh shit, I forgot to put heat shrink on there, or forgot to do whatever. One of the things I do, and I do this with video wires a lot, especially in a micro build, because you don't want a bunch of tape and crap in there. If you've got one bare wire like a video lead, conformal coat it. Make sure it doesn't touch anything while it's drying. Give it a blow or two, hot date blow, and let it dry, and you'll be fine. One of the things that I don't recommend you do this on high voltage wires, like ESC wires necessarily. It's not really a substitute for electrical tape, but if it's not going to be rubbing on your frame, you're probably fine to do this. I do this with video cable all the time where I need to splice where my OSD is or something like that. Do it all the time. And that's a really good trick, because it's a whole lot better than unsoldering what you've done and resoldering all that just to put heat shrink tape on there. I do this on the backs of cameras. I do it everywhere. So this is the best 12 bucks you'll ever spend in your life. I'm telling you right now, as you build, you have your frame. If you're using a power distribution board or your ESCs or whatever, 4-in-1 ESCs, I do the whole thing. Anything over the terminals, swipe the terminals. If you resolder your wires on there, make sure you recode it. And that's really all there is to it. So I hope this helps some people. Don't be afraid of conformal coating. You really can't do too much. What I do recommend you do, if you really want to make it waterproof, like this board now is water resistant. If you fly out in the rain, it's probably going to be okay. If you dunk it in the lake, it may or may not be. If you're concerned about that, like my one drone that I made that's weatherproof, wait for it to dry, do another coat. You only have to wait a couple minutes. Take a hairdryer, whoop, and it's done. And give it a few coats. It's not going to hurt anything. It's going to burn right off. It's not going to hurt a thing at all. Also, if you want to make sure that you've got everything covered, because it is kind of difficult to see, here's another trick. Take it out in the sunlight, or use ultraviolet light, like a black light or something like that, and hold onto that light, and it'll reflect a different shade. I'm colorblind. I think it's blue, maybe green. I don't know, but you'll see where it's covered and where it's not. But like with this one, I put it on super thick, and it's gonna be fine. I can plug this in all day. It'll run just fine. It's not gonna short anything out. So I hope this helps some guys out there. And until next time, keep shining side up and waterproof your stuff. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.